Hi everyone, thanks so much for watching The Social Life, the place to be for entrepreneurs who are purpose-driven and want to unleash their something amazing. So today I want to talk to you guys all about membership. There are a lot of you who have been wondering if you can have a membership-based organization. So today I received a question from Lisa, and I thought this is a perfect video to make. And her question was, can you maintain the right to refuse membership to your organization? And I thought, what a brilliant question, because a lot of you may not even know how a membership and a non-membership nonprofit are created and how they're different and all of that. So I thought this would be a great video to just talk to you all about all of these things and also answer Lisa's question within. So because it's a little convoluted. So I will get to that question. And the first thing I want to start with is what the difference is between a non-membership and a membership type of nonprofit. Now, the real difference is that in your articles of incorporation as well as your bylaws, there will be some language in there, and there's a formal structure on how this is all set up in those two documents. And that's how it's really different from the nonprofit that does not have a membership. In my course, I help others create membership because that is the simplest form of your nonprofit. Now, I would suggest that if you are going to start a nonprofit that is a membership-based nonprofit, I would actually suggest that you do speak with a lawyer and set that up specifically. There are books that are out there that are specific to membership-based organizations and setting those up. And so it's really important that you set these up in a correct way, because your members really have a lot of power over your organization, and so you want to make sure that you have all your ducks in a row. So today we're going to talk a little bit about that, and then I do just suggest that, because I'm not a lawyer, that if you want to set up a membership-based nonprofit, that you do go and speak to a lawyer. And also a great book for this is the NOLO book that I recommend. If you are going to set up a membership, I know they have a section in there about that. And if you're doing a non-membership and you just want someone to walk you through every piece of it so that you know what goes into your bylaws, you know how to do your articles of incorporation, all the steps, everything that you need to do, you can take my 30-day course, which I have, that gets you set up and ready to file, which we do file together in 30 days. So if you're interested in that, you can go to ashleytate.com/workwithme, and I do have the link to the course there. So anyway, let's jump into this and get started. So there are a couple of different reasons that you might set up a membership-based nonprofit. Some of those reasons are informally, maybe you just have a fee that people pay and they're part of your membership, or you have a combined mission that a lot of others might be interested in being a part of, and sometimes these will be like grassroots organizations, or something like the NAACP is a membership-based organization, or you can have advocacy groups, or you can have like the Chamber of Commerce would be considered a membership-based nonprofit, where someone is advocating on behalf of the members as a larger entity. And so if you have something like that, that would be a great reason to look into a membership-based nonprofit. So those would be some of the ways that you would look at that. Now, as I always say, even when you're running a nonprofit, you are running a business. And the big thing that you want to keep in mind is who you are serving and who essentially makes the decisions around your business. So if you're in the tribe, yesterday we had a live all about who owns your nonprofit. And it's really important to understand, because your board really is what runs your nonprofit. And the leverage that your members have are really what owns your nonprofit as well, if you're a membership-based organization. So you want to keep those things in mind. If you are a formally structured nonprofit, then yes, you are run by your members. If you are a non-membership-based nonprofit, then your board of directors and the public are in control of your nonprofit. And it's very important to understand that you are essentially the guidance, that you provide the guidance behind your organization, but you do not actually own that organization. So a couple of reasons that you might have a membership, whether formal or informal, are you give benefits to your customers and they pay you a fee. Sometimes those can be your clients or customers. Sometimes those can be actual donors who have some benefit from you, maybe like a newsletter, or they have access to specific tools or resources from you. Potentially your donors might have some sort of vested interest in paying monthly or something in order to support your mission or your organization. And that's a very informal setup for a membership. Now, the difference between a formal and informal membership is that in the informal example of a membership, yes, they are called members, but they don't have any voting rights. They can't dictate anything within your organization. It's just that they are vested in your mission, and this is how they choose to support you, by becoming a member, and maybe they get a few perks. That's a very informal way of having a membership. Sometimes you don't even have that in your articles or your bylaws. That might just be more of something in your business plan and how your organization is run. Now, if you are a full-on membership organization and this is how you were set up, then your members do have quite a bit of pull in your organization, meaning that they can vote. You need a quorum for them to vote. You need to have enough members participating in that vote for you to have a quorum. And you need to have the members say if you want to change something in your bylaws. And really they are the ones that are governing the organization. So they act as your board essentially. Is the whole membership essentially is your board, and that's how you make decisions. And so this does require a little bit more of a setup and understanding of what you're doing and how you want your organization to run on a membership-based nonprofit and a membership-based nonprofit. So it is something that you need to really think about to ensure that this is the route you want to go, because it will take a little bit more coordinating, and you'll need to keep the interest of the members and keep track of how many members you have and make sure that you have a quorum each time you want to vote on something. Now, the next type of membership program that's out there for nonprofits is a public interest, something like a PTA, where you're having the members join and then everyone receives the same benefit. So if you're part of the PTA, it benefits the entire school, and you have people who also are receiving that benefit, such as parents and the teachers, and they are part of this association, and anything that they raise and do goes back to the school, which then benefits the children, which then benefits the parents and the teachers. So that's something else that you can do, and these are different types of setups, and I'll explain later on in the video what all that means. So like I said earlier, there's a formal and an informal. We already spoke about the informal, then we talked about public interest, and now I'm going to talk to you about the formal side. Now, the formal side of things, you actually have to change your articles of incorporation, and they need to reflect that you are a membership-based organization. And then also, these members have rights that go along with being a member. They will be the people who elect your board. They will be the people who make certain decisions in the organization, and essentially they, like I said earlier, they really do run your organization. So you want to be sure that this is the direction that you want to go before you make the full-on decision that you want to be a membership-based organization. There are a couple of different 501(c)s that you can look into to make sure that you're getting the correct type of membership setup that you want. So a 501(c)(3) really is for a charitable organization, meaning that you're doing some sort of charity work or something like that. You're not really doing anything political. You're not doing anything that requires any lobbying or advocacy or anything like that. So if you're looking for an organization that's similar to that, a really good example of this would be the NAACP. They just recently put out a letter from the president that said that they were changing from a 501(c)(3), which is charitable, which they could lose a lot of donors from this, and they moved to a 501(c)(4), which allowed them to actually get more lobbying and more ability to be on the political side and be in the political scope. And so you have to really decide what your mission is and which direction you're planning to go, because if you become a membership-based program, these are some of the things that you're going to need to think about. So Lisa, as I said, sorry you guys about that. I am totally losing my light, and I wanted to change myself around so I could make sure I continue this. Anyway, so Lisa, as I was saying, Yes, you can actually do that. You can set up your organization so that you can maintain the right to refuse membership. The most important thing that you need to do here is make sure that it's written into your bylaws so that you can actually say, that you have to be approved to become a member of this organization. And so whatever that approval is, whether you have to interview that person in person, or they need to mark something on the application to make sure that they understand what they're part of. I know that there are tons of organizations out there. The biggest thing you don't want is some sort of civil rights violation from the group that may be excluded, and you want to make sure that you talk to a lawyer about this. I cannot stress this enough. You just want to make sure that you sit down with a lawyer, and it would likely need to be a civil rights attorney, just to make sure that your organization is going through all due processes to make sure that you keep everything on the up and up, and that you do have your organization set up in a way that you can approve the people that you would like into your organization, but that you aren't violating any civil rights laws out there. So it was a fantastic question, and I actually needed to do a lot of research on it before I could even answer. So I love questions like that, and I think that was actually something that a lot of people need to know. So in conclusion, you guys just want to make sure that if you're going to set up a membership, you want to make sure that you're aware that it's very different from a 501c3 that is not a non-membership, okay? That's generally the type of membership that, that's generally the type of nonprofit that many people can, start, and they do all the time. The other thing is you want to make sure that you understand that you're looking to be a charitable organization, or you want to be a lobbying organization with some political aspect of it, or you have to know what your purpose is. Are you working for a body and you want to be a representation of that body? Like a business association or something who works on behalf of other businesses, and the businesses join the nonprofit, and then that nonprofit goes and lobbies for small businesses or something like that. So if you're set up like that, that's more of a 501c6. A 501c4 would be something more like a advocacy group that's advocating for something. Maybe you need to lobby, maybe you need more political focus or efforts. You're going to want to look at those types of 501cs. My biggest fear, and what I don't want you guys to do, and if you are thinking at all that you might be in any of these categories, is to truly sit down and research 501c6, 501c4, and 501c3 to find out exactly which one you fall into, because that's why even with the NAACP, they had to make that change, because being a charitable organization, you're not able to have some of that political pull that you can, or political lobbying that you can with a 501c4. So that's really the basics of this video. I know it's a long video, and I'm sorry, but I just wanted to make sure that I got everything out there about memberships, and whether you're going to make that decision to be a membership or not. You want to remember that even if you are a 501c3, yes, you can still have a membership, but that would be considered an informal membership that does not have any sort of rights that go along with your members. It's not necessarily in your organization's bylaws or your organization's articles of incorporation. It's just something that you offer as kind of a perk, or something that might be an easier way to support your organization. You might be a member and get like a newsletter or something. But when you get into the more formal public interest or formal memberships, then yes, you really do need to worry about whether you're going to be a membership or non-membership 501c. And if you don't know, the best thing to do, honestly, is to call the IRS and ask them, let them know your mission and what you're trying to do, and they will help you figure out if you need to be a 501c4, 6, 3, there's 7s, there's all types of 501cs. But it's really important to make sure you're clear on your mission and what your goal is of having a membership. So I hope that helps you guys make that decision. Lisa, I hope that answers your question. And thank you all so much for watching today, and I will see you next week. Now get out there and unleash your something amazing. See you then. Bye, guys.